From the Sunflower Shop, this is the Healthy Approach Podcast. I'm Bryan Bradford. In the world we live in today, we are all concerned about our immune system. We want it to be as healthy as possible, but how can you tell if you have good immunity? What if I told you that with one drop of your blood, you can see a lot? It's called Nutritional Blood Analysis, and it can point out many factors of health just by analyzing that blood droplet under a microscope. Here with me to talk about the immune system and blood analysis is Katie Palmer, a certified herbalist and functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner. Welcome to the show, Katie.
Hi. Hey, Bryan. Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks so much for being here today. I wanted to bring you on the show and talk to you about our immune system, and I love what you do, and think more people need to know about what you're doing in this live blood cell analysis, because I know I have a lot of customers that walk in and see your pamphlets or your flyers laying around and wondering, what does this mean? What do I get from it? So why don't we start off in you describing what is a live blood cell analysis?
So, a live blood cell analysis, when you come in, we take one drop of blood, just a finger prick, so it's not a big blood draw or anything, and I examine that drop of blood under the microscope. Now, I'm looking for a variety of different things. We look at digestive issues. If we see signs of liver stress, we look for signs of bacteria, yeast. I look for maybe different toxic damage, some uric acid. So we see a big variety of things. The other thing that's so cool about this test is it's a live blood analysis, so it's completely different than a regular doctor's blood test because we're looking at the cells while they're still living. So we just get a completely different type of information.
So basically, you're able to just take one single drop, just pricking someone's finger and put this under a microscope and see all these different things?
Yeah, it's so amazing. I get kind of nerded out about it, but just looking at it every time I pull up the sample, and somebody hasn't seen that before, it's just amazing how many blood cells we have in just one tiny drop of blood. It's crazy.
So exactly, what are you looking at? So you draw someone's blood, put it underneath the microscope. What exactly are you seeing? I know we talk about the immune system, but what makes that up?
Yeah, well, as far as the immune system goes, I'm looking at your white blood cells. So that's your immune system, really. And of course, white blood cells and our immune system is something that people are thinking a lot about here recently, especially, with coronavirus. Everybody wants to know, is my immune system strong? And, not just that, but there's such a huge amount of autoimmune cases out there now. And I'm sure a lot of your customers come into the store because maybe they've been diagnosed with autoimmune, or they think possibly that's the case and it's gone undiagnosed. And so they're just wanting something maybe to help with symptoms or things like that. I mean, it's just really prevalent. So the immune system plays a role in all of that.
So with white blood cells, I want you to break down really the different kinds of white blood cells and what it means, since you can see these things in a drop of blood.
Absolutely, sure thing. So with the blood analysis, we're able to see so much about somebody's immune system and just their health in general by looking at the white blood cells. And, I should say first off, everybody has white blood cells all the time. Typically, there's about one white blood cell to every 500 to 700 red blood cells. And the reason I mention this is so I have a lot of clients that will be looking at their sample and then a white blood cell comes up and it kind of freaks them out because we're so used to hearing white blood cells, and we hear of like somebody that's really sick and the doctor says, oh, their white blood cells are elevated. But for a healthy individual, we want those white blood cells. They're the good guys. The issues just start arising when we have, maybe a surplus or deficiency in those cells, or when the cells aren't real healthy, or if the white blood cells start attacking the wrong type of thing, like, with autoimmune or something. But during a blood analysis, I'm observing all of those types of white blood cells, what are visible, looking for the normal amounts and the health of those cells.
And how are you telling how the health of the cell? What are you looking for? What does it look like on a screen?
Yeah, well, so there's lots of different types of white blood cells and they look different. So, for instance, we have a type of white blood cell called a basophil. And this has like these real dark little granules in it. But these cells release a chemical called histamine. So if somebody's having a lot of allergy issues, then we're going to see more of those basophils. They also release a chemical that's going to contribute to a lot of inflammation. So that's one type of cell. But then we have other cells. So there's a cell called a eosinophil, and those cells often deal with parasitic infections. Consequently, they also release histamine, and so that explains a lot of times why people will have a lot of allergies or food sensitivities with these infections because that cell does both. But those two cells look completely different from each other.
So you can basically see allergies or parasites by looking at in someone's blood.
Right. I mean, of course, it's not a diagnostic test or anything like that. But yeah, we see these reactions happening in the body just by looking at that sample. So it's pretty awesome.
So you're able to see white blood cells. What else are you looking for? Are you looking at the red blood cells too and the health of those?
Absolutely. Yeah, we look at the red blood cells. We look to see, if they're flowing nicely, if they're clumped together. We look at the size and the shape of them. All of these things can point to different issues that could be going on in the blood. If they're all clumped together, it might be because somebody's not digesting their proteins properly. If they're the wrong size and shape, it could be because of some nutrient deficiencies. So there's a lot with the red blood cells as well that can point to a lot of different things.
And you can even see hydration issues with people too, based on the red blood cells, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, we can see hydration issues. A lot of that could be clumping. A lot of that could be the size of or the shape of the cell. Sometimes they get these real fine spikes along it, and that might be somebody's low in their electrolytes.
Very interesting. So when you're looking for a healthy immune system, I mean, you got to make sure the red blood cells are healthy, the white blood cells are doing their job, or at least they got enough of them to do that job. So
Right.
what issues are you seeing or health challenges with certain customers that you're working with? What do you see as far as I don't want to say diseases, but health challenges?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you talked about, the amount of white blood cells that we see. So there's different types. Different types of white blood cells show up in different percentages in the samples. So for instance, there's a cell type called a neutrophil. And if these are real clustered together, or if there's more than one or two clumping together, then that could be showing things like bowel or liver toxicity. So of course, with live blood analysis and really, all functional way of health, we're looking at the sample, but also what is this person presenting with? What kind of symptoms do they have? So we put all of that together and address it that way. Um, but then we also see, there's another type of white blood cell called a monocyte. We hardly ever see this. But if we do, then it's showing that usually showing that there's some chronic inflammation going on. So, which is not, I mean, inflammation is something I feel like a buzzword we all hear about, and we're like, well, I'm inflamed. My doctor says I'm inflamed, but why? Inflammation is not a bad thing. It's the white blood cells trying to protect you from something. So then we need to really start digging deeper. We can address it with
Exactly.
things like turmeric, but also what is the root of this inflammation?
That's right. And you're also able to see digestive issues with people, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So we look for things like if people are having trouble breaking down proteins, fats, sugars, um, we're going to look at all of that. We look for if there may be stress with the liver, which plays a huge role in the detoxification pathways. There's a lot of things that show up, I do require people fast before they come in so that we get a good idea of what's going on. But somebody may come in fasting and we still see their blood is full of undigested fat. Well, that gives me a lot of signs right there that there's different things that aren't working properly, and we can start addressing that.
So that will really give you more information when you're seeing proteins or undigested foods in their blood from 24 hours even earlier. It could be a definitely a sign of a problem going on as far as gut issues and digestive problems. So it's amazing. This one drop
Absolutely.
of blood, you're able to see this inflammation, this digestive issue, allergy problems, parasitic issues, inflammatory, and all of this we know can hinder the immune system. So when you're seeing these
Absolutely.
different levels, what are you suggesting as far as nutrition or diet and lifestyle changes to the client to help them get better?
Yeah, well, it depends on what we see again. So certain cells we might see cells that are premature, for instance. And in that case, that happens because there's been a sudden bacteria issue or sudden reason to create this certain type of cell. So then we're going to do things just to strengthen the immune system, like echinacea, garlic, elderberry, kind of your basic type things. Where in other cases, we can see certain cells that might be showing that the immune system's overactive. And so then we want to do things to kind of balance out the immune system, like maybe colostrum or ashwagandha or different things like that.
Yeah, or even the digestive enzymes too, right? Because I see a lot of clients that you talk to, or all seem to have
Absolutely.
digestive problems to some degree, and enzymes I know are
It's
a big
so common.
influencer for them. It is. I think we all have problems with
Absolutely.
digestion, right?
Right, right. Yeah. Yeah. So as far as diet wise, yeah, different digestive support. We may do some liver support for them. I see bacteria. So a lot of times we're doing some sort of protocol for bacteria as well to try to help the client eliminate that.
Wow. So you got a lot of good, things in your arsenal to really help address a lot of these health issues, just all from one drop of blood, right? It's pretty cool.
Right.
Pretty cool.
Yes.
So what does a customer expect? What should they expect when they walk in to see you? What's the process for getting in to see yourself?
Yeah. So you would sign up, schedule ahead of time through your website, and I do go to all of your Sunflower Shop locations, and so they'd schedule online, come in for the appointment. It's a 30-minute appointment, so they're going to come down. We're going to talk for a little bit because again, with functional health, this is not just your sample. We're looking at the whole picture. Who are you? So I want to know what kind of symptoms are you having? What supplements are you already taking? What kind of food are you eating? We look into all of that, and then we'll take the sample. They get to see the sample on the screen, which I think is so fun for everybody. I mean, it's just pretty cool because we're not normally getting to see that sort of thing.
That's my favorite part is be able to see my blood on the
Right.
screen and all the little dots floating around. It looks like
Exactly.
a Pac-Man game or something.
Exactly. Yeah. So we get to see it. I explain everything as we go along. I encourage you to ask, questions as they come up, because everybody's thinking different things and wanting to know different things and how that applies to their health and their symptoms. And then at the end of the session, then I help them, think of different things with as far as a protocol, as far as supplements or diet, maybe different lifestyle things that can help them to start that journey for their health.
That's right. I think that's the awesome part that you're getting to see your blood on the screen, see what goes on, and you're helping them break down what could be contributing to some of their health problems and recommending a protocol for it. I think that's great service. So you got to check Katie out
Um,
on her website at sunflowershop.com and get an appointment with her because she does some amazing stuff and what she can see in one drop of blood. So you got to check her out. Katie, thanks so much for being on the show today. I appreciate you.
Thanks for having me, Brian. I appreciate being here.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Healthy Approach podcast. Be sure to subscribe if you like this podcast and help us spread the word by rating and sharing with your friends and family. If you'd like to learn more about nutritional blood analysis or to make an appointment with Katie, go to sunflowershop.com, that's shop with two P's and an E, or visit us at one of our 3 locations in the Dallas-Fort Worth area.